Well, hello and welcome. This isn't the video you're supposed to be seeing, by the way. But, oops, sorry about that wobbling. I had intended to do a video showing me getting the stuff ready for Etsy. But on Saturday, yesterday, as you know, April had a calf. April the giraffe had a calf. And so I was watching her, and then when I stopped watching her, when she delivered the baby, I then went to go outside. I think I told you this yesterday, and it started raining. So I left the table outside, even though, as Nathan says, it's not really supposed to be left outside. But there was no way I was going out in the hammering rain to rescue it, because it's a bit cumbersome for me to try and fold it up. I struggle. So by the time I'd done that, I would have been absolutely wet through, and I didn't fancy that. Because getting wet through doesn't do my arthritis any use. So I thought I'll leave it out till this morning and rescue it in the morning. Wrong. It's still hammering it down with rain. And I need a big space to sort everything out because, you know, I've left it so I've got loads of things to put on there. And tomorrow, if it's sunny, Sue's supposed to be coming, whether it's sunny or not, I mean, but if it's sunny tomorrow, then maybe I won't have time to do it if Sue's got to go home early or whatever time she goes home. I may not have time after that because it might be too dark outside or probably raining. Anyway, what am I wearing? Well, I'm not really wearing this. I decided I'd just put it on, even though it's still not blocked. Because I had a sleeveless dress on before and it's gone a little bit chilly. So I thought, I'll put this on as it was still downstairs waiting to be blocked. But the only problem with knitting with your needle under your armpit is that if you're wearing something crocheted or knitted, the knitting needle gets stuck under your arm sometimes and you go and all the stitches fall off your needle. I don't mind it when I'm doing something that's plain, but when you're doing a lacy pattern and you drop all your yarn overs and everything, it's not funny. Well, I still learn. Do you know I can't speak today. I am wearing someone else's teeth and they don't fit. I've not started doing any crocheting as yet because, as you know, I usually like to do one project at once, be it knitting or be it crocheting. But when I'm knitting, I actually should do two projects at once because I tend to sit and knit all the time until this is finished, and it's not a good idea because then my shoulders start to hurt. I didn't do much knitting yesterday, as you probably gathered, because I've just started the second front. Finished the back, finished the second front. It is going to be short, this waistcoat, so it's not going to be a long one. And I know that someone's going to say to me, have you got it longer? But when you're using up some repurposing, I won't say it's recycled yarn because it's not, it's new, but it's being repurposed. You have to play with what you've got, don't you? And I can't do it again a bigger size or longer because I don't have any more of this yarn, and I haven't seen it on ice because I made this about two years or more ago. Well, I made the first one. I should have said the one I've unravelled. Yeah. I got asked whether I would make another one of these for someone, but it's tricky really because the yarn I used was expensive and it takes such a long time to make one that, you know, I think I'm going to be asking a price, even though I make very little profit on anything I make, as you know. I'm going to be quoting a price that's not going to be acceptable anyway, so I just answered saying I didn't really want to do one at the moment, which I don't. It's not that I don't want to do one, but you know, you know for a fact that somebody's going to faint when you tell them how much you want, even though it's cheap. Because the original one that was in Anthology was over £1,000. I mean, obviously mine wouldn't be that much, but you wouldn't be getting a jacket like this for £50 or £60. No way, you know. Sorry about that. But it's one of those things, isn't it? We were just talking about that actually, because Zoe 24 Carat Crochet has just made a very lovely Doctor Who scarf, which is enormously long and it's all done in garter stitch. And she was thinking about making one to sell. But as we were saying, would anybody appreciate all the hours she's put into that? I mean, it's been an ongoing project for quite a while. And she's put a lot of time, a lot of yarn into it. And, you know, people would say, oh, it's just a scarf. You can buy one, but you can't. This is a hand-knitted, authentic garter stitch scarf that she's made for herself. But we will see what it is. I mean, I struggle with pricing anyway. I would love to price my clothes what I think is a reasonable price. But I know that I won't sell them, you know, so you have to cut the... You know, people say in an ideal world you pay yourself $10 an hour for your crochet and stuff. Oh yeah, that would be lovely. That would be wonderful. But how could you charge $10 an hour if something takes you about 2 weeks to do it? Ain't gonna work that way. You know, plus by the time you've added on the cost of your yarn, the cost of the postage to send it to wherever it's going, and the fact that eBay takes a... eBay? Don't use eBay. Etsy takes a cut, PayPal takes a cut. They finish up usually getting more profit than you do for actually making the thing. It's an age-old problem. Chicken and the egg. You know, never mind. You know, if I had my own boutique, I wouldn't want one anyway because I'm not fit enough to look after one. I would like to work and have my things in someone else's boutique. So that it wouldn't matter if I didn't go in, you know what I mean? Besides, I'd have to give up my part-time job of looking after Gigi. He's a labour of love though, he's not profit. Yeah, he's my little... He's been a monkey though this week. He has kibble, you know, like the dry food at home for his breakfast. Sprinkle with a little bit of whatever they've got, fish, chicken or anything like that. He looked at me as if to say, what's that, when I put his breakfast out. I don't eat that at your house. I have something better. I don't want my kibble. Yeah, he's found himself 2 girlfriends on Facebook, by the way. Not that he knows it. Not that he's bothered. He's just one of those. So instead of seeing the video, or the Veda, whatever it is, that you're supposed to be seeing, you just see me boringly doing my knitting. Using my little, I call it a frog. It just reminds me of a frog for some reason. I had to put him on a string. The other one's on a red string, but it got put somewhere safe a couple of years ago and I haven't found it yet. So fortunately Grace sent me a present and she sent me another one. These things are sent to try me. Do you know, one day when I have a really good tidy up and I put everything up into my craft room, pardon the irony, I will probably find everything that I thought I hadn't got, like my 10mm needles and like my other stitch counter, and probably a lot more other things that I've lost over the years. I can't see I've lost them because they're still in the house somewhere. They've not like grown legs and wandered off, as my mum used to say. When I used to say, I can't find my socks, I can't find this. And my mum used to say, well, look a bit harder because they've not got legs on and they've not walked out the front door. Used to annoy me that when I was little, but I see where she was going. And my maternal grandma used to have a saying when I used to say, I can't do this, Grandma. She used to say, can't means won't try. And that used to, when I was little. But she was right, because I would just look at something and think, I can't do it. And I would say, I can't do it, Grandma. And she said, well, when you've tried it and you can't do it, then come back and let me know. And half the time it was because I didn't want to do it. It wasn't that I couldn't do it, you know. So, more memories of my childhood. I have loads of them. In fact, my memory's so terrible lately, I remember more from the past than I do of the present. But somebody said to me one time, because we're old and we've got so many things stored in our brain, we just discard the bits we don't think are important. I just seem to be discarding the things that are important, though. That's my problem. I've got my clipboards, but I've not written anything down on them yet. So I'm not going to stay on the video long today because I want to make some dinner for myself because I'm hungry. And Gigi's gone home now, so I can eat my dinner in peace without worrying about, can he eat a little bit of this, or is it too spicy, too this, too that, has it got salt in? It's tricky with a little one, especially when it's not your own. You guard them more than what you do when it's your own animal. Yeah. We're back to the old now. No animals. Missing him already. But having said that, I went to bed quite late-ish last night. Well, not too late. Not as late as I've been doing in the past when I've been April the giraffe watching. But, you know, I thought, oh, Sunday, I don't have to get up, it'll be nice. But no. Gigi decided he wanted to get up at 7:15. So I call him downstairs, let him into the garden. Thought, he'll go back to bed like Buster used to do. You know, once Buster was sorted out with whatever he needed to do in the garden, he would stand at the bottom of the stairs as if to say, we're going back up now. I don't know how he knew, but he always knew it was Sunday. I always knew it was time to go back to bed. Only for an hour or so, but especially if he'd got me up like, Buster was a 5:30 kind of guy, you know, 6:30 if I was lucky. So on a Sunday he always knew we were going back to bed. But no, not Gigi. Gigi decided he wanted to run up and down the stairs, gallop round the bedroom, jump on me, bite my feet. So it was like, oh no, better get up now. So I'm not exactly feeling tickety-boo today. Tomorrow I could have a lie-in, but then I don't know when Sue's coming, if she's coming. She's not said for sure she's coming yet, so don't write it in stone. It all depends, I suppose, whether she's got things to do. I've been very good. I didn't have an Easter egg, not even a little Cadbury's cream egg. I'm trying to be good and stay away from chocolate and sweeties. But I must admit, even though I broke my tooth on one of them, I am partial to a very hard, sort of like a Minto or butter Minto. Because, you know, with my froggy throat and stuff, it does keep my throat lubricated, if you know what I mean. And water doesn't help, because water goes down and then 5 minutes later your throat's rough again. But somehow sucking a sweet, it sort of coats your throat a bit better. And I did find out there is some honey. My daughter-in-law must have left it behind. But it's right at the top of the cupboard. So I'll have to wait for when it stops raining and I can go outside and get my little step stool ladder. I'm going to do a lot when it stops raining, aren't I? I'm going to be busy. Tomorrow if it's busy. If it's raining tomorrow, I'm going to help Sue to help me to shut the table down. I had enough trouble trying to set it up, because I don't have an awful lot of power in my arms. And it's long and it's awkward to fold up and to put up. You know, I was sort of chasing it all around the the decking when I was putting it up the other day. So trying to take it down, it's a nightmare. So if it's raining and Sue comes, maybe she'll help me to take it back down again. Yeah, hopefully she'll have something to chat about, then you won't be bored to death with me. Well, as I've got nothing to say today, I'll probably go and make it a very short video. I'll just get to the end of this row. These needles are a little bit large for me. I sort of prefer the medium-sized needles. I don't mean tiny, tiny needles. Excuse me, I've got itchy nose. I like needles, you know, about 4.5, 5mm needles. Or even 6mm needles. I'm like that with crocheting as well. My favourite hooks are like the 5s and the 550s. I find it more... Oh, sorry about your chewy nose. I find it slower somehow when I'm using a big hook. And especially those huge hooks. I can't get on with them at all. I just can't grip them when they're too large. I mean, Sian was doing a review about some, I think they were prim hooks. But they wouldn't be any use to me because they start at 6mm. If they did on a 5mm or a 550, but they do have them, prim hooks, but they're different altogether. The smaller sizes have got a much longer handle bit than a shorter crochet hook shaft bit at the top, yeah? And that's what gets me when they've got handles on them. I need the longer length of hook at the top and a shorter handle. Because I crochet further up my hook, if you know what I mean. You know, when I'm crocheting, the yarn goes fairly up my hook. Whereas with those, you could only go like so far, then you hit the handle. No good. I tried the cheaper version of the Addy swing hooks because I wasn't paying the price of the Addy swing hooks to find out I couldn't use them. And I can't use them because they're bent in the wrong place for me. They'd be alright if I was shoveling me crocheting, but because I have it over my hand like that when I'm crocheting, the bendy bit wasn't in the right place. I'm an awkward one. It's a good job we don't all crochet the same, isn't it? We were having this discussion actually the other night with someone, I can't remember, I think it might have been Sian, or it might have been Jenny, about, you know, how people say you're crocheting the wrong way, you're holding the hook the wrong way. I don't subscribe to that at all because, you know, I don't hold my hook the same way as a lot of people do. But it's what works for me, and it's the way I was taught. Well, I was self-taught, so it's my way. And, you know, people like to interfere when you're doing something, saying, oh, you're doing that the wrong way, or you're not holding your yarn the right way, or you're not. I never do that. When I used to teach crochet a long time ago, I used to say you'll get your own rhythm, you'll get the way you hold the hook, you'll get that. You know, the way that you hold your yarn, the way you wrap it through your fingers. Every single person I've seen, well, nearly every single person I've seen, crochets differently or holds the yarn differently. So to me, there's no wrong way, there's no right way. It's like with knitting. I cannot use circular needles. I can't. It's not natural to me to knit with my arms sort of wiggling about. But that doesn't mean to say that people who use them are wrong, because they're not. If you were taught to knit like loose, as I call it, I was taught to knit like this by my mum, because she holds her needle underneath. Well, she did, but bless her, she's not here now, but she held her needle underneath her arm. And when you're a child, you learn by, you mimic, don't you, when you see other people doing. My aunt used to knit that way too. One of my aunts used to knit on short needles with everything wiggling about, but it used to fascinate me watching it, but it didn't make me want to do it, if you know what I mean. So, no, I would never advocate that. You know, people are too opinionated these days, I think anyway. You know, oh, you don't want to use this yarn, you want to use this. Or, oh, are you crocheting with acrylic? Oh dear, oh my. You know, I don't think anybody's got the right, have they? To say, you know, you're not doing it right. Because your way is the right way for you. End of story. Your yarn is the right yarn for you. End of story. So please don't take any notice of anybody that tells you you're doing it wrong. You know, unless you were doing it completely wrong and, you know, increasing all your stitches or something silly like that, then I think I would feel a little bit inclined to say, just hang on a minute, let me just watch you do that. You know, I was teaching a girl to knit one time and she kept making holes because every time she was knitting she'd put the yarn across kind of thing. You know, she had it sort of wrapped around the needle somehow. So every time she knitted she made an extra stitch, you know. So I did have to step in there because, it, you know, she'd never learn to knit basically, would she? Unless she was learning to make a big triangle. She would have made a fabulous a triangular shawl, except that she did it all the way across the room. So we got to sort it out in the end. My nose is itching, sorry about that, and I'm not getting annoyed. I just did a quiz on Facebook, and everybody else who'd done it got sort of something introvert. Not me, I got emotional extrovert, but it also said I had a flaming temper, which I don't. When I was younger I was awful, I was really hot-headed. Didn't have red hair for nothing when I was a kid. I was really flew off the handle at the slightest thing. I used to give myself headaches because I used to scream that much. But thankfully, I grew out of it. When I got divorced, I completely grew out of a temper. Now, if anything gets me annoyed, you know, I just sort of walk away and I don't bother. I think a lot of it's to do with age. I think you mature and you think, nah, it's not worth it. You know, I'm more quietly sarcastic, you know, like when you're having to deal with people on the phone that have sent you a wrong bill or they won't have it, you know. I'm just quietly insistent and a little sarcastic, you know. It's like, when you've got a moment of your precious time, could you please look this up for me? I know you're very busy, but please, you know. It usually gets my message across. I'm not sure how the people on the other end of the phone take it. Oh, I got a message the other day, an email message from BT, that's my telephone provider, saying I could have, you know, this call bar, which I've got call barring on my phone already type of thing, but it doesn't work for these people in Pakistan or India or wherever they're coming through. But they're now telling me that they've got this service. And it says, if you want to block the call, and I thought, well, how can I block the call when half of them have blocked their number? I don't really see how that's going to work. And yet kind of the bump that I'm reading is saying to me that I can. Unless there's a facility for me to say block the last caller, yeah? Then they can maybe find out whose number's calling you. I'll believe it when I see it. Although they seem to have left me alone lately. Shouldn't say that, should I? Probably start on Monday now. You know, since I keep telling them, no, I don't have a car. I've not had an accident. I haven't driven for 10 years. Who else is in the house? Well, my dog, but he doesn't drive, yeah. And then when they ring up, they say, I'm not asking you any questions. I just want you to answer this. And I said, I thought you said you weren't asking me any questions. Goodbye. So I think they got a bit fed up with me now. Because I still won't answer it. One guy said to me, you've answered your phone, therefore you've got to answer my questions. I said, that's why you're wrong. I don't. You rang me, I didn't ask you. Bye, you're gone. So maybe after making umpteen phone calls, and now I don't answer them if it says international. I do not have any friends living abroad who phone me on a regular basis, so, you know, I can't see me having any phone calls from friends, can you? Well, I said I was going at the end of the row, and I've done another 2 rows. I love knitting when I'm talking to people though, because it makes everything go. It's very repetitive, isn't it, knitting? Well, it is when you're just doing plain stocking stitch. So, I mean, I like being on like Shine's Crafty Corner. I just listen away there. I don't comment that often because I have to stop then and type. But I like when I hang out on Google, because then I can carry on knitting without having to, or crocheting, without having to stop to type, because I can just speak. So we shall see. Anyway, if you've all had Easter eggs and things, I hope you're all being very cautious and not eating them all at once. I didn't get myself an Easter egg. Nobody else buys me Easter eggs these days. My dad was the one. He bought me an Easter egg up to him being really ill. Because he always used to say to me, "Are you too big for an Easter egg?" I used to say, "No, never be too big for an Easter egg." So he always bought me an Easter egg. Every year he bought me an Easter egg. And my mum used to say, "Wouldn't you rather have something else besides the Easter egg?" And I kept saying, "No, Dad always buys me an Easter egg." And when he was poorly, just before he sort of went a bit, he still bought me an Easter egg. And even when he kind of was losing it and he was on his way out, he'd say, "Fetch me wallet. I haven't been able to go out to get you an Easter egg. Fetch me wallet and I'll give you some money to go and get an Easter egg." And he used to say, "All right, I'll do it in a minute, Dad," because I knew he'd forgotten it by the time 5 minutes had gone past. He'd forgotten he'd said it. But he still used to say, "Is it Easter?" or, "Is it Christmas?" or something. It's sad when they lose it all, isn't it? Sad to watch. That's the one thing I dread. I don't mind the pain so much. I don't mind being in pain as I get older. But I do hope I don't lose my marbles. But my son says you won't know if you've lost them anyway, because you'll be still quite happy because it's other people around you that realise you've lost your marbles. But still, put this slippers on, but that Andy didn't like that. Andy doesn't like much these days. So I'm going to go and make some dinner, not lunch. I've had my lunch, have I? I've not been feeling very hungry lately, so I can't remember if I've had my lunch. Can't remember if I had lunch or not. Can't remember. So I'll go and make some dinner. That's probably why I'm hungry. Maybe I didn't have any lunch. Maybe I just had breakfast. I'm very forgetful these days. I can't even remember if I've eaten or not. Probably a good idea, because look how fat I am. I could do with missing a few meals. Anyway, I really am going this time, so happy Easter. Happy Easter Sunday. I've no idea what date it is. It's either the 15th or the 16th. No idea. I'll write it on top of the video. Bye all. Bye for now.